You might want to sit down for this, because that $90,000 truck in your driveway, it's now worth less than a used Corolla. No exaggeration. Dealers are in full-blown panic mode, auction lots are overflowing, and the so-called king of resale value just got dethroned overnight. This isn't a dip, it's a nosedive. The kind that makes finance managers break out in cold sweats. Look, here's the deal. The truck market just hit a wall and nobody wants to admit it. The same $90,000 pickups people were bragging about 2 years ago? They're now sitting on dealer lots collecting dust, and the folks who finance them are realizing they basically bought a liability with cup holders. They're worth less than a base model Taco Bell order. Yeah. That's the sound of reality pulling the parking brake. For the last few years, dealers have been living off fantasy pricing. Trucks were gold. Everything was limited supply. And they could tack 10, 15 grand over sticker because everyone thought, well, it's a truck, it'll hold its value. But now, those same dealers are underwater. They're holding units they can't move without bleeding cash, and the market's finally sobering up from its COVID-era sugar high. You've got 2022 F-250s, GMC Sierras, Ram HDs, all bought at record highs, now worth 20, 30 grand less. And that's if they're clean. If they've got miles or a scratch, forget it. The funny part? Dealers don't want you to see the panic. You'll never see them say, we overpaid and we're screwed. Nope. You'll see banners that say, model year clearance, inventory blowout, or my favorite corporate spin, market adjustment rollback. Translation: we got greedy, and now we're begging you to bail us out. But here's where it gets twisted. It's not just dealers feeling it. Every guy who financed a $90K truck for 7 years at 6.9% interest is upside down by 10 to 20 grand. That's not depreciation. That's demolition. These trucks lost more value in 2 years than some people's houses gained. And the lenders? They're getting nervous too. Banks are quietly tightening up approvals on heavy-duty loans because they're seeing the same math we are. These things are overpriced anchors. You know what's driving this collapse? It's not just inflation or gas prices. It's basic demand exhaustion. For years, automakers convinced everyone that they needed luxury-level trucks. Cooled seats, 20-inch screens, 1,000 torque, all to drive to Home Depot once a month. They turned a work tool into a status symbol, and then they jacked the price until only the banks could afford it. But guess what happens when rates go up and people's payments hit $400 a month? They stop buying. Shocker, right? And now, the whole market's stuck. Dealers can't sell new trucks because nobody wants that payment. They can't offload used ones because the value's cratered. And manufacturers are pretending everything's fine while quietly cutting production targets for 2025. I've talked to guys in the business who say floor plans are killing them. They're paying interest on trucks that have sat for 90, 120 days. That's money burning a hole in their books. And the auction houses? Full. Absolutely stuffed. You scroll through wholesale listings right now, you'll see row after row of King Ranches, Denali's, Rebels, all going for peanuts compared to last year. It's a bloodbath. But let's not forget who helped fuel this mess. The buyers. Yeah, the I'll pay anything, I just want the newest model crowd. Dealers saw that desperation and turned it into a business model. And now everyone's acting surprised that the bubble popped. You can't pay $30K over MSRP for a depreciating asset and expect it to age like fine wine. It's more like milk. And the expiration date just hit. You ever notice how every industry hits this phase where they start believing their own hype? That's what happened here. Automakers built $90,000 pickups. Dealers said, people will pay it. And consumers lined up. For a while it worked. But you can't defy gravity forever. Now we're watching the correction. And it's not pretty. Some trucks have dropped 25, even 35% in value since 2022. That's more than some stocks lost during the recession. And here's the real kicker. The new models coming out? They're not cheaper. Ford, GM, Ram, they're still pushing luxury trims like nothing happened. Because they can't afford to admit they overshot the market. If they start cutting prices publicly, every existing owner loses even more equity overnight. So they'll keep the sticker high and let incentives quietly creep back in. You'll start seeing $10,000 cash back, or 0.9% for 36 months, like it's generosity. It's not. It's triage. And consumers, they're wising up. People are starting to realize that a truck payment the size of a mortgage doesn't make sense when your grocery bill's already doubled. They're buying smaller, older, or not at all. Which is why used compact trucks, like Tacomas, Frontiers, and Colorados, are holding way better value. Because they're actually affordable, useful, and don't require a second job to fill the tank. Meanwhile, heavy-duty luxury rigs are just sitting. 90K paperweights. The same dealerships that used to brag about short supply are now begging wholesalers to take units off their hands. Some are even selling back to auction at a loss just to get them off the books before the next interest cycle. I've seen this movie before, and it never ends well. It's the same pattern from 2008, just with more chrome and leather. Easy money, inflated assets, then reality. And the only people who win are the ones who waited. So if you're watching this thinking, should I buy a truck now? No. Wait. Let the market bleed a little longer. Winter's coming, sales are slowing, and floor plan pressure's gonna force some desperate price cuts. You might see 90K trucks going for 65K by February. Maybe less. And that's still not cheap. But at least it's closer to sane. Look, I love trucks. Always have. But let's be real. This market's been running on fumes. The bubble was built on hype, ego, and bad financing. Now the air's coming out, and the people who thought their truck was an investment are learning the hard way that steel doesn't appreciate. It depreciates. So yeah, breaking news. $90,000 trucks are now worth less than your neighbor's used Camry, and dealers are panicking behind the curtain. But don't feel bad for them. They had their run. They cashed in when times were hot. Now the music stopped, and someone's stuck holding the keys. My advice? Let them sweat. Let the prices fall, because the only way this market resets is if buyers stop feeding it. And when that happens, when the dust settles and the finance rates drop, then you can walk in, pay fair money for a fair truck, and drive off knowing you didn't just sign up for 7 years of regret. Until then, sit tight, keep your old rig running, and enjoy the show. Because trust me, the panic's just getting started.